Today on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's less than 24 hours until baseball's trade deadline. Blockbuster deals have been struck, but what's next? Find out who's going and who's staying. Is your team looking to make a trade for the playoff push? We'll have the very latest updates. On the diamond, what a week it's already been. We've witnessed history.
And Irvin Santana has no hit for the Cleveland Indians.
And controversy.
Safe! He called him safe! I cannot believe Jerry Meals called him safe.
And today, with 3 great matchups on Fox Saturday Baseball, what else can you expect to see? All the action, all the wheeling and dealing is next on Fox.
Welcome to the AT Pregame show on Fox. AT&T Rethink Possible. For the first time this season, the pregame show hits Motown. The Tigers are just 6 games over 500, but hey, that's good enough for a 2.5-game lead in the AL Central. This afternoon, they'll battle the LA Angels, who have playoff dreams of their own. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Rose, and welcome to another live edition of Fox Saturday Baseball. In just a few minutes, we'll get you out to one of 3 great games, either in St. Louis, Seattle, or right here in Detroit. But, of course, the big news, we're keeping our eye on that trade deadline clock. It is officially under 24 hours and going down. Now, the Philadelphia Phillies, the best team in baseball, got that much better last night when they traded for the 2-time All-Star Hunter Pence from the Houston Astros in exchange for 4 prospects, part of a huge day in the city of brotherly love. That came just hours after the Eagles cornered the market and nabbed Nnamdi Asomugha, formerly of the Oakland Raiders. One big trade in baseball this afternoon. The Detroit Tigers pick up some pitching help. They get Doug Fister and David Percy from the Seattle Mariners. And the Tigers send 4 players, including 2 big leaguers, back to the Pacific Northwest. So the countdown is officially on, as you can see by the clock, under 24 hours to go, and that's where we welcome in Ken Rosenthal, the senior writer from FoxSports.com. Kenny, you were all over the Hunter Pence deal last night, but what is the latest news right now with Heath Bell, the 3-time All-Star closer of the San Diego Padres?
Well, Chris, this has gone back and forth for a few days. The Rangers and the Padres bandying names about. It still looks like he's going to be a Ranger. In fact, they are the front runner, but the Cardinals are hanging on in the periphery, and if things fall apart with Texas, the Cardinals will be there.
Everybody, of course, is dying for starting pitching, and it's squarely focused on L.A. and Hiroki Kuroda of the Dodgers. However, he has a no-trade clause, so what's the latest with that?
Well, Chris, this one is complicated because of the no-trade clause. No one really knows if Kuroda will waive it, and the other thing is the Dodgers are asking for quite a bit, even though he's a rental. 3 teams still in the mix for Kuroda: Boston, New York Yankees, and the Texas Rangers.
All right, let's stay out in the NL West, and perhaps the biggest prize out there when you're talking about starting pitching, Ubaldo Jimenez of the Colorado Rockies. He's only 27. He's very affordable. Somebody's going to have to pay a heavy price if they want him.
Absolutely, and the Rockies want the Yankees to be that team, but as of right now today, those teams haven't even spoken on this day. So really what we have here is a stare down, and the Yankees are hoping that the Rockies lower their price. The Rockies are insisting they will not lower their price. They don't need to trade Jimenez. There are other teams involved as well, but right now this looks like it's going down to tomorrow.
All right, back to the NL East. And what about the Atlanta Braves? They watched the Phillies get better when they picked up Hunter Pence last night. Don't they have to make some sort of counter move here?
Well, they're trying, Chris, and they are going to get an outfielder by the deadline. What I hear now is that they are becoming more involved for the Astros leadoff man and center fielder, Michael Bourne. He would be a great addition with Schaefer on the DL, McLeod on the DL. He'd fit neatly into that Atlanta lineup.
Yeah, Brian McCann on the DL as well, and Chipper Jones banged up, so they need some offensive punch, no doubt. Any other rumors you're hearing out there you can help us
we
with?
could go on all day, Chris. Cardinals about to get Rafael Furcal. A lot of action with the White Sox right now. Matt Thornton, Carlos Quentin, no one seems to know what the White Sox are going to do. And finally, right here in Detroit, the Tigers, even after their big trade today, still looking for a reliever.
Okay, how many times did the cell phone go off in the last 2.5 minutes?
3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, Alex Avila with a little guest appearance on the pregame show as well. He's going to be working with a 20-year-old rookie today in Jacob Turner, so it ought to be interesting right here in Detroit. We'll have scores and highlights coming your way throughout the afternoon here on Fox, plus one of 3 great games. Some of you will see the Angels and Tigers. Others get that nasty rivalry, the Cubs and Cards. The rest of you will see the Rays and the Mariners. We'll get you out to your game next here on Fox. comes away from Comerica Park. Two contenders in their respective divisions clash. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim against the Detroit Tigers. And, of course, the trading deadline is approaching. But we've got a big story today. 20-year-old Jacob Turner is going to make his Major League debut. I'm Dick Stockton, working with Jose Mota today. And, Jose, even Jim Leland, who's been in baseball nearly a half a century, said, I really get excited for this, to see a kid like this come up and make his debut today.
And he should be excited because it's one of the most top-rated prospects in all of baseball. Just a couple of weeks ago, he's pitching in the Futures game in Arizona. Shows that tremendous composure, tremendous poise, and that mound presence that's pretty much very tough to find in a young player. But today he found himself in the middle of a pennant race.
And his family is on hand, so it's a big day for this 20-year-old who is going to make one start and then go back to the minor leagues, facing Dan Harron, one of the best pitchers in the American League. So coming up, it'll be the Angels and the Tigers from Detroit. Roll, and here is today's starting lineup for the Angels, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Mycer Asturias will be leading off at third base. Torrey Hunter will be in right field. Bobby Abreu, the DH, hitting third. Vernon Wells batting cleanup in left. Howie Kendrick will be at second base. Eric Ibar is the shortstop. Mark Trumbo playing first base, hitting seventh. Peter Borges will be in center field, and Jeff Mathis, the catcher, batting ninth. And going up against Jacob Turner, and making his Major League debut. Those are his Double-A numbers at Erie, and coming up to pitch just one game, and that is today. And right now, our sprint pitcher profile on Jacob Turner. Jose,
it's time to show that stuff everybody's been raving about throughout his career, short career in the minor leagues. And you know what? You're in the big leagues now, the big stage. All eyes are on you.
All right, we're ready to go in the opening pitch. Brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Mycer Asturias hitting .275 with 5 homers and 25 runs batted in. The switch hitter leading off for the Angels will be followed by Torrey Hunter and Bobby Abreu. And the first pitch of Jacob Turner's career is in for strike 1. How long do those butterflies last, Jose?
They could last a few pitches. They could last the whole game.
In the air to left field. And Brennan Bosch making the catch. And there is one away. Let's take a look at the Tigers defensively. Bosch in left, Andy Dirks in center, Maglio Ordonez in right. Don Kelly getting the start at third, Johnny Peralta, Carlos Guillen at short and second, Miguel Cabrera at first, and Alex Avila catching Jacob Turner.
Small grass here in the infield, which is very beneficial to this Tigers infield, which will be great for a young pitcher pitching to contact.
There's a strike. And the other thing, the wind has been blowing in from the outfield. This is a pitcher's park in any event, Jose, so that could be a benefit to the young hurler, who stands at 6'5", weighs 210 pounds. And finds the inside corner and is ahead of Hunter, 2 strikes.
When you say that, all he has to do sometimes is look back there behind him to his back. It says 420.
Right.
So you know what? Let them put the ball in play.
Took something off that pitch, and the count is 1-2. Turner, a 20-year-old from the St. Louis area, drafted 9th overall in 2009 out of Westminster Christian Academy, as you see that 420 sign in center field, and the count now even at 2-2. Since June the 13th, the Angels on a 27-12 run, and that's the best record in the big leagues. They have been flying under the radar and coming in 2 games behind the Rangers. Slow bounder to third base, and Don Kelly throws out Hunter. 2 gone in the Angels' first. You got to love Jim Leland, and you've known him for many, many years. Knows the spirit of baseball, and he says, I'm excited for this kid. His family is here, and I don't care whether he gives up 10 runs or no runs, perfect game, no hitter. He's going back after today.
And just Leland expressing that publicly says a lot about how much he's looking forward to watching this young man develop.
Bobby Abreu, he has struggled this year. The DH hitting .262, 4 homers and 41 runs batted in. Takes ball 1 outside. Did hit a 2-run homer in support of Dan Herron in his last outing, of which the Angels could not hold the lead.
And we know clearly, talking to Mike Socha today, he says, my second half depends on the veterans Hunter, Abreu, and Vernon Wells.
No question about it, and the youngsters have come up well. Most of his top prospects in the Angel organization are with the club, but he knows he's not going to go anywhere and surpass the Rangers without those 3 delivering.
It's all about the guys that have been there before, leading the way.
2-0 pitch. In there for a strike.
I think about Bobby Abreu. They're trying to get him to crowd the plate a little bit more. And Mickey Hedger has spent a lot of time just convincing Bobby to trust his hands and to let him fly. Still has a hand speed.
And a shot hit out to right center field, and that's going to be in the gap and off the wall in right center, retrieved by Andy Dirks, rounding second as the throw comes in, heading in and to third, and sliding in with a 2-out triple is Bobby Abreu.
I think that's more in line with what Mike Socha is looking for here. Now watch the point of contact, hands coming through inside the ball, and then explode. That's what the Angels need from Bobby Abreu. When he crowds the plate, he has a tendency to be more aggressive. There it is again.
So Abreu with a 2-out triple.
Look at him go.
Well, he's got 14 stolen bases this year anyway on a club that likes to run. So with 2 down and Abreu at third, Vernon Wells is the batter. Wells hitting .215 with 6 homers and 41 runs batted in. Career lows in batting average for Hunter, Abreu, and Wells this year. 1-0 the count to Vernon Wells, who has been showing signs of snapping out of it.
As he has snapped out of it, the Angels have also snapped out of it and gotten closer to the Rangers.
Trailing by 2 games in a tight race. That pitch in for the strike. Working fast and efficiently. 1-1 the count to Wells.
The youngest Tiger pitcher to start a game here in Comerica. first big league hit, a triple to a veteran.
Now the question is, can he pitch out of this jam with 2 outs? Ball breaks inside, and the count 2-1 to Vernon Wells after spending 12 years with the Toronto Blue Jays. And now Jacob Turner facing one of the prodigious sluggers in the game in his career. And the count goes to 3-1.
So how does his stuff compare to other Tigers? Well, he's more of a power guy with some sink. He can go 88 to 94 with a 2-seamer, but up to 95, 96 with a 4-seam fastball.
Infield plays from the pull. The outfield slightly around to the right and fouls off the fastball. And the count to Vernon Wells is 3-2. This is the third game of this series. The Angels won the opener 12-7, getting 17 hits. Last night they reversed it as the Tigers wrapped out 15 hits in winning 12-2. So both teams winning, getting double digits in runs. Runner at third, the 3-2 pitch, and it's popped up behind third, and it's Johnny Peralta making the catch, and Jacob Turner pitches out of a jam, gives up a 2-out triple. Angels don't score, and the Tigers coming up in the first. Leading off, Brendan Bosch hitting second, Maglio Ordonez third, and Miguel Cabrera batting cleanup. Victor Martinez is the DH. Pretty good lineup, isn't it? Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, hitting sixth. Carlos Guillen batting seventh. Alex Avila, the catcher, and Don Kelly batting ninth for the Tigers, facing Dan Harron. One of the big strengths for the Angels is their starting pitching. One of the big reasons why. Dan Harron, 10-6, 10th in ERA at 3.01, and now our sprint pitcher profile on Dan Harron.
He's going to be around the plate, but he needs to pitch inside with a cutter to find the early splitter and spread the zone for the hitters. And a great guy who adjusts as the hitters do throughout the ballgame.
Andy Dirks leading off, and he takes a breaking pitch for a strike. Dirks playing center field, has seen most of his action in left, hitting .257 with 6 homers and 19 runs driven in. 1-1 the count.
That's the pitch I'm talking about. He can back him off the plate and then make better use of the splitter. And this kind of weather, splitter, you better watch out. Might be dancing a lot here today.
And a shot hit to center field, coming on over is Borges, and makes a terrific catch. Peter Borges going to his right, full speed on a sharp line drive, prevented an extra base hit, probably a triple, with a great play in center field to start the first inning in the Tigers.
It's great instinct, but he also anticipated that pitch with a fly ball pitch on the mound and the direction of how the pitch is moving and reading the swing. It's all about its extension there and about a good first step. Get spoiled watching this almost every single night out there.
And a little recognition from Dan Herron. 1 out. And Brennan Bosch. Sharp foul ball down the first base line. So a couple of shots off the bats of Tiger hitters to start this game. Brennan Bosch has been scalding lately. And he is 4 for 7 in the series with a home run and 3 runs batted in. Hit his 15th home run last night to surpass his total last year when he was a rookie.
And he did it with 100 less at-bats. He's cut down the strikeouts too.
Breaking ball taken inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bosch, who handles from Santa Monica, California. Went to Harvard Westlake School. And has done well against both the Angels and the Dodgers in his brief career. Fouls this one into the upper deck.
Yeah, he can do that right there. Prolific power. He has cut down on the strikeouts. You see the numbers in comparison. Number of games. It's just a good sign of somebody learning on the fly and learning well.
Fits into a very potent batting order that the Tigers have.
That's a great point. Think about all the veteran guys he's watching him.
1-2 pitch and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tigers came into this trading deadline, and of course Ken Rosenthal will have reports throughout the afternoon on the latest rumors and what teams may be thinking as we approach the deadline tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time. And a foul out of play. The big story for the Tigers in the trading market was the fact that they were looking for a 5th starter. And of course, Ken Rosenthal talked about the deal made with the Seattle Mariners that brings them 2 pitchers.
Always active, Dave Dombrowski. He is a president, CEO, and general manager with his ball club.
And an active one at that. Fly ball hit deep to center field. And going back is Borges to make the catch. And there are 2 down in the Tiger first inning. So let's check the Angels defensively. Vernon Wells, Peter Borges, and Torrey Hunter in the outfield. Historis, Ibar, Kendrick, and Trumbo in the infield, and Jeff Mathis behind the plate. And Dan Herron on the mound. Herron coming off a brilliant performance. Didn't get the win on Monday. Gave up 2 hits and a run on the first 3 batters, and then only an infield hit the rest of the way. Worked 7+ innings.
It was brilliant. He found a good place to get rid of the ball. Good extension. He had been pitching with a stiff back.
Maglio Ordonez with the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Ordonez hitting .229 with 3 homers and 16 runs driven in. Fastball on the inside corner, 1-2. Tigers come in 2.5 games in front of the Indians in the AL Central and 3 behind the White Sox. So the White Sox threatening to move into second place. Grounded at third, backhanded by Historis. And the throw to first handled by Trumbo, and a 1-2-3 inning for Dan Herron. We've completed 1 here in Detroit. No score. Outside the Bun by DirecTV. Now NFL Sunday Ticket is included when you switch to DirecTV. And by Listerine, rethink clean, Listerine. Angels coming up in the second inning against Jacob Turner. It'll be Howie Kendrick, Eric Ibar, and Mark Trumbo. The Angels winning Thursday 12-7 after scoring only 7 runs in the 3-game series against the Indians. And that has been the main problem as far as the Angels and what they might pick up. And they need, obviously, some offensive help.
And we already saw in the first inning. Mike Scioscia says the reason we're here so close to the Rangers, only 2 games out, pitching and defense. You saw Borges already. You saw the way Heron pitched. Tigers, different story. They can hit the ball. That's why the 3rd best offense in the American League.
And as Ken Rosenthal said in the pregame show, the Tigers may not be through dealing, maybe not necessarily for a starter, but for some pitching help in general. As Howie Kendrick leading off, hitting .304, 8 homers and 36 runs batted in, 6th year in the big leagues, and an all-star for the first time in his career. 1-0 the count to Kendrick. Down low, and the count 2-0 to Kendrick, who drove in 2 runs on Thursday. Jacob Turner, 20 years, 2 months, and 9 days old. And the strike there. In the past 6 years, only Madison Bumgarner of the Giants last year made a start in the major league game younger than what Turner is here. Two and two.
Are you sure this guy wasn't pitching with a different name? He looks so calm out there. This guy doesn't look like somebody making his debut. Pitch out of the jam in the first inning. Trusting his stuff. You see the great movement on that fastball.
Jim Leyland was talking to the media before the game in his office. He said, you may not be here long, I may not be around, but he will be here. That I can guarantee you. As Kendrick strikes out for out number 1. And we talked about the Tigers trade with Seattle. And if you missed the pregame show, Ken Rosenthal, why don't you fill us in again?
Well, Dick, the Tigers gave up quite a bit in this trade. Left-hander Charlie Furbush, outfielder Casper Wells, and a third base prospect that everyone is really high on, Francisco Martinez. So what are they getting? Well, they're getting quite a bit as well. 2 pitchers, Pfister and Pauly, both of whom are under club control through 2015. That's 4 more years beyond this one. And keep in mind, the Tigers were also talking about a 2-month rental for Hiroki Kuroda. They'd rather have Pfister for 4 more years.
All right, and Ken, of course, we're fortunate to have him on site today here in Detroit, as well as Chris Rose. And we'll have the latest and the rumors hot and heavy coming up with the trading deadline coming up. Eric Ibar showing bunt on a couple of pitches, and the count 2 balls and no strikes to the switch hitting Ibar, hitting .282 with 7 homers, 43 runs driven in.
Hey, this time of baseball, this period is made for Ken Rosenthal. Isn't it?
And his bow tie. Strike on the corner, 2-1.
Dave Dombrowski, talking to the media before the game, says, as you mentioned, and as Ken was alluded to, is the importance of having a guy like Pfister pitch in this ballpark. Fly ball guy, 420 to center field. He says he's going to keep Austin Jackson real busy for the next few years.
Swung on and missed. Good pitch there, and it's 2-2. It's like Adrian Gonzalez going from hitting in San Diego to Fenway Park.
You mean playing Pepper with that wall out there? Left field?
And that's his style, and of course his performance thus far has indicated his love for the ballpark, but he's hit well everywhere. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ibar with 1 out. And a hard shot, base hit through the hole in right field. Second hit of the game for the Angels, and Ibar is aboard with 1 out. Mike Scioscia, we asked him about Jacob Turner. He says, well, we have our reports on him. We've looked at tape on Turner's pitching.
Yeah, there's always going to be an advantage on somebody you haven't seen before on the pitcher. No matter how much video you see, what the scouts are telling you on late movement, Dick, breaking ball tilt, the plane, All that stuff happens in the batter's box, but you also have a responsibility to pass it on to the guys coming to hit behind you.
Here's Mark Trumbo, and the strong man fouls off the first pitch. And what a Thursday he had, missing only a single for the cycle and 5 runs batted in, leading big league rookies in homers, hits, and runs batted in. What a year he's had.
This is just a terrific young hitter who makes adjustments from one pitch or one at bat to the next and hits the ball everywhere. Pull the ball.
1 ball and 1 strike to Trumbo. Eric Ibar on at first with a 1-out single. So
there's no question where he ranks right now. He is the leading candidate to win the Rookie of the Year. Remember, started the season in a little uncertainty because of Kendrys Morales' situation with the Angels.
And this is where Mike Scioscia was telling us before the game how the young players in the system are not down in AAA. They're here with the Angels.
So where do you build a package to present to other ball clubs, right?
Not that easy in their case. Sliding back is Ibar, who comes into the game tied for 8th in stolen bases in the American League. He has stolen 21 in 25 attempts.
You know, and Trumbo had 36 home runs in AAA last season, went to winter ball in Venezuela, hit the ball well there. And then in spring training, many people were talking about it's the thin air in Arizona. Okay.
There goes Ibar. Pitch taken for a strike. The throw to second, not in time. And Ibar is in with his 22nd stolen base. So that's the small ball, even with a slugger up, that Mike Scioscia likes to play.
We'll find something out immediately from this youngster. Great jump by Eric Ibar. See the head down, going towards one direction, in line with that bag. Straight steal. You can see where he was running on the inside of second base. You see so many guys nowadays aim for the outer part of the bag and get thrown out because they're curving into the bag later.
Cuts off the area to make the tag, and time is called. So for the second time in as many innings, the Angels have a runner in scoring position. Bobby Abreu tripled with 2 out in the first. And now the count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Trumbo with 1 out. Fouled out of play, and it remains 1-2.
We're talking about making adjustments during at bats. This is what Trumbo does so well. There's a breaking ball count. So he pushes himself to stay inside the ball a little bit longer and not being afraid of being late. That case makes him more dangerous, and he can hit the ball the other way better.
Nicknamed Bam Bam, by Torrey Hunter for the Flintstones character. And it's always great when a youngster comes up and gets an early nickname, right, Jose?
That means you're producing.
Yep.
If you don't have a nickname this early, that means you're down to the minor leagues.
Conference at the mound between Avila and Jacob Turner. Turner planned on attending the University of North Carolina before the Tigers gave him huge money to turn professional. And you can see Trumbo has been very effective against Tiger pitching thus far. Breaking ball hit down the left field line and hooking foul.
So what did that one swing we showed do? Stay on that ball a little bit longer, right? But smartly, what does the guy on the mound, Turner, does? Let me take something off my breaking ball. That's where that ball was foul ball. This guy's 20, he said, on the mound? Come on.
They're coming up younger, stronger, bigger, faster than ever. And getting a piece of it is Trumbo to stay alive. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Home plate umpire is Bob Davidson. Hunter Wendelstedt is at first. Brian Knight at second. And Jerry Lane is over at third. Interesting talking to Bob Davidson before the game. He had no idea who was pitching, and he says, I never look to see who the pitchers are into the game.
It's a good point. Find some things out as the game develops.
And Trumbo strikes out. So Turner with his first 2 big league strikeouts, and there are 2 down in the second.
He gave Trumbo 4 different looks throughout the whole at bat with a breaking ball, different speeds, a sinker in, and then a power sinker right in below his hands. That's where you get a big guy with long arms to not extend.
2 down, and Ibar remaining at second base, and Peter Borges the number 8 hitter for the Angels, comes in batting .265. Has hit 3 homers, knocked in 19 runs. Returned from the DL last Saturday after missing 11 games with a tight hamstring. And a good breaking ball as Borges shied away from the plate and it caught the inside corner. Borges just getting back in the groove, was hitless his first 4 at-bats. But has come back. Here comes Ibar stealing third, and he's in with a stolen base. So Ibar with an easy steal up third now with 23 on the year.
That's just being smart. Looking at the catcher's signs. Once you're at second base for an extended period of time, you have the signs down, you have the pattern down from the catcher, you roll the third. That's how the Angels play the game when they're going right.
1-1 pitch. Inside, 2 balls and a strike to Borges.
Well, Dick, you have to have a manager that will give you the freedom to do so. Take some liberties on the bases and not be afraid. You know how many managers would have said 2 outs? I don't want you to take third base. You stay right there.
And a lot of things, as we know, happen with 2 outs. Wild pitches. You got the rookie out on the mound. There's a breaking pitch for the strike. And it's 2-2. A lot of things can happen with a runner at third.
Turner had 8 wild pitches in Double-A this season.
So for the second straight inning, the Angels have a runner at third. Let's check in with Ken Rosenthal.
Well, we have a deal in progress here. It's close. Jason Marquis, the Washington Nationals right-handed starting pitcher, he is going to go to the Arizona Diamondbacks, guys. And the Diamondbacks, of course, are in a tough spot. They're chasing the Giants, but Marquis should help stabilize that rotation.
Been a busy man, Ken, and you're going to be busier, I think, in the last 24 hours or 23 hours. And Tiger fans wanted that pitch. It runs to 3-2 to Borges.
Yeah, Ken, your clock is winding down, man.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Borges. 2 outs, and Ibar, who singled, stole second and third. And checking with the first base umpire, Wendelstedt, ball 4. And Borges trots down to first base. That's the first walk issued by Turner. And so the Angels have runners at first and third, 2 out, and the number 9 hitter Jeff Mathis coming to the plate.
You mentioned how Vernon Wells has been pretty much in the center of the Angels' recent surge. That's since mid-June until now. But Peter Borges, as a number 7, 8, or 9 hitter, has been as important for the Angels with a great at-bat like that.
So Mathis hitting .190, has 2 homers and 13 runs batted in. Had 2 hits in the series opener Thursday and knocked in a run. Angels looking to draw in front of the Tigers. Strike on the inside edge. 0-1. Jacob Turner in his major league debut, called up from Double-A, and will pitch this game and then return to the minor leagues. But he will be around, and he is a keeper, one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball.
They have seen him throughout spring training. Love the way he goes about his business. A great school, too, as he mentioned, from the St. Louis area. But Andy Bennis, the biggest influence he had as a youngster, teaching him how to pitch.
And there goes the runner from first. Pitch taken for a strike, and Borges moves into second with a stolen base. So the Angels have stolen 3 bases here in the second inning. Borges with his 13th steal of the year, and the count 0-2 to Mathis, now with runners at second and third.
Scouting. Mike Scioscia applying it.
They looked at video, and reaching, striking out, throw to first base, and that'll do it. So Turner pitches it out with the man at third, had second and third this time, but Cabrera and Victor Martinez, first 2 hitters to face Dan Harron in the bottom of the second of a scoreless game. Tigers batting in the bottom of the second inning against Dan Herron, who retired Detroit in order, and Miguel Cabrera leading off. First pitch, ground ball to shortstop, Ibar. And there's one away, and time now for a DirecTV game break. Let's go down to Chris Rhodes.
All right, Dick, the Angels chasing the Rangers in the AL West, and it's the former Halo Mike Napoli blasted one to center, his 15th of the year. But the story of the day, Derek Holland, he is now tied with Cliff Lee for the major league lead in shutouts. He goes the distance. Texas leads all of baseball with 14 shutouts, 3-0. The final. Remember to see every baseball game, the most in HD. It's 1-800-DIRECTV. And guys, now the Angels trail the Rangers by 2.5 in the AL West.
So the Angels trying to catch Texas, and they'll play a lot of them in August and September, 10 games to be exact, as Victor Martinez takes a strike from Dan Herron. Martinez, the DH today, batting .320 with 6 homers and 61 runs batted in. Tigers in their lineup have the 6th, 7th, and 8th top hitters in the American League. Peralta, number 6. Martinez here, 7, and Cabrera, who grounded out on the first pitch here in the second, number 8. Pretty imposing.
Victor Martinez, one of the best free agent signings of past winter. Talk about your money's worth.
Ball strike 1 and 2. Martinez drove in 4 runs last night.
But he's a monster with the bat. Both sides of the plate. Tough to strike out. With 2 strikes, he hits .317.
Fouls it off. Remains 1 and 2. Martinez has had success against Herron, hitting .421. 9 hits and 21 trips to the plate, including a home run. So Ordonez and Martinez have been the big bats against Dan Herron.
Uses a big bat, but he's got a very flexible grip. All with his fingers. He loads up nicely, lands on time. You look at those pitches, and most hitters are swinging right over the top. But because he starts back in time, lands with that front foot on time, he's able to recognize location and spin easier.
Dan Herron looking for his 11th win of the season. 2-2 pitch to Martinez, and he grounds it foul. 10 strikeouts to tie a season's high in that last outing, as the Indians rallied in the 9th inning to win that game. Herron making his 9th start against the Tigers, 3-4 lifetime record. Pitched the second shutout of the season and the 4th of his career against them on July the 5th when he outdueled Justin Verlander.
True California. He loved the sunlight.
Working 2-2 to Victor Martinez. And on deck is Johnny Peralta.
There's a very typical Victor Martinez at bat. Making you work.
And the deeper you go in the count, the more pitches you amass, and then before you know it, you can't get into that 7th inning. Ground ball, gloved nicely by Trumbo, feeds Herron on the high toss, and Herron made a good play, and Martinez is retired for the second out.
It's a nice job by Mark Trumbo going to his right, starting with that glove low, knowing that he has to find his pitcher, but there has to be a timing involved here. As he finds Herron, he leads him with the baseball a little bit high, and that's what caused Herron to cross the bag and not go inside that line. But the play is made. It's an out.
There it is with Herron crossing that bag, and here's Johnny Peralta. And on the first pitch, hits a fly ball to left field. Vernon Wells is back and makes the catch. Another 1-2-3 inning for Dan Herron. We've completed 2 here in Detroit. No score between the Angels and the Tigers.
It's still the Motor City, though, right?
It is, even though it's a merry-go-round.
Yes.
I could say it's a merry-go-round of trades, since Ken Rosenthal is keeping track already with 2 deals today, one involving the Tigers and the Diamondbacks, both involving pitchers. As Maicer Astúriz up for the second time, fly to left to start the Angels first and takes a strike. What was lost in last inning when the Angels had 3 stolen bases and left runners at second and third was the fact that Jacob Turner struck out the side.
All about the stuff. What a presence on the mound. They talked about his composure, his great baseball schooling. We mentioned the name Andy Bennett, but also he's been involved with Todd Worrell back in the St. Louis area.
1-1 pitch fouled away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Astúriz. Angels are 58-49 on the year. They were a season's high 10 games over 500 before their loss last night. They had won 3 in a row, and the Tiger victory ending their 3-game winning streak. And they have really been under the radar as far as a team that is challenging for a division lead right now. 2-2 to Astúriz, and he fouls it off. And I'd have to say, Jose, that Irvin Santana's no-hitter on Wednesday may have been the igniter to make people sit up and take notice as to what the Angels have done since mid-June.
Which is all the great pitching that keeps the Angels in ball games. And another guy stepping up in that rotation.
2-2 pitch, grounded to Guillen at second base. And Astúriz is retired, 1 out. And Wednesday, the no-hitter, Irvin Santana, struck out 10, walked 1.
Oh, he was tremendous. Pretty much everything he threw was a plus. And that last pop out just told the whole story. Remember, he had allowed a run in the first inning due to an error and a wild pitch, but he did not put his head down at all. And he said, my fastball's doing things that I've never seen it do.
Torrey Hunter fouls off the breaking pitch. That was the 9th no-hitter in Angels history, and the first since 1990, when Mark Langston had a combination.
Mike Witt.
Right. And the first solo no-hitter since Mike Witt's perfect game in '84, and I believe it was Irvin Santana's first career win against the Indians.
Yeah, how about that? Just not letting it roll, saying, okay, here we go again. First inning, error. Wild pitch is not my day. He had never won at that ballpark, as you mentioned. He had never beaten the Indians. But then he was on until the last pitch, number 105.
That one bounces in. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Torrey Hunter, who grounded out to Kelly his first time up.
Got to give a lot of credit to Angels catcher Bobby Wilson and the way he conducted Santana throughout that whole ball game.
Not easy for a catcher making just his 10th start of the season. 1-2 to Hunter with 1 out here in the Angels' 3rd inning. And 2 balls and 2 strikes. And he went around for strike 3. So last 4 outs recorded by 20-year-old Jacob Turner have been strikeouts. And check out the MLB Fan Cave at MLBFanCave.com. Many of baseball's biggest stars have stopped by the cave. Check out all of the videos. See who will visit the cave next. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave on Facebook. 2 down, and here is Bobby Abreu, who tripled with 2 down in the first inning, but did not come around and score. The Angels have threatened the first 2 innings, and a call strike to Abreu.
This is game number 101 for Bobby Abreu, who has played 150 plus games in 13 consecutive seasons.
And you talk about a milestone, passing Roberto Clemente for all-time runs batted in. And it meant so much to Abreu, besides the consecutive games played, for the Latin American community.
Very important. Takes a lot of pride in that.
Fastball missing outside.
I think the Angels have 55 more ball games, including this one. And Bobby is right now at a pinch and say, I need to produce. I want to be there every day.
And the count now 3-1 to Abreu with Vernon Wells on deck. And there you see Paul Molitor, Bobby Abreu, and he is one behind Paul Molitor and passing Roberto Clemente. Doesn't matter what number you are when you're mentioned in the same sentence as Roberto Clemente and any of his achievements. That means a lot. So Abreu draws a walk. Runners at first with 2 out. Let's check in again with Ken.
Obviously, for fans watching this game, fans of the Tigers and the Angels, they're going to want to know what these teams' division rivals are doing. Let's start with Texas. We'll get to the White Sox and Indians in a bit. Texas heavily involved for Heath Bell. Also talking about Hiroki Kuroda. They are in a number of pursuits. Not saying they will all get done, but the difference between Texas and the Angels.
Throw goes to center field, and Abreu on the wild throw goes to third. So a stolen base and an error will send Abreu to third. Ken, go on.
The difference between the Rangers and the Angels is that while the Angels have most of their best players in the major leagues right now and a little bit of a void in their farm system, the Rangers are loaded, and they can deploy these prospects into any deal practically that they want.
You mentioned Hiroki Kuroda figuring in possibly several clubs' plans. Here's Vernon Wells popped to short. Who else is interested in Kuroda?
Well, Dick, you've got the Rangers, of course, as you mentioned. The Yankees and the Red Sox are also in. But the question with Kuroda continues to be, will he waive his no-trade clause?
That's the big question as Ordonez comes in and makes the catch to retire the side. So the Angels again get a runner to third to no avail. 2.5 down, and it's no score. Detroit batters. In fact, first pitch strikes to all 6 facing second baseman Carlos Guillen, hitting .295 with a homer and 10 runs batted in. And the first pitch is a strike to the 7th straight hitter he has faced. And like Victor Martinez Last night, Carlos Guillen driving in 4 runs. A healthy night in the RBI department. And the count 1-1.
Yeah, Carlos has been limited. There's so many injuries the last 3 or 4 years, but it's only his 12th game this season, or 13th here today. But he's been a steady presence at second base and in the batting order from both sides of the plate.
Goes around on the pitch. 1-2 to Guillen, followed by Alex Avila and Don Kelly.
It's one of those times, Dick, when you sacrifice maybe a little range at second base, but you know you're getting a professional hitter, a guy that's a great influence in the clubhouse, and a guy that's been there before, playing important games from here to the end of the season.
Sometimes you have to say, what are the pluses? And if they outweigh the minuses, you can get along.
A lot of those times, those pluses, you cannot evaluate them in a scouting chart. It's all the intangibles.
And I think the big thing, being a presence in the clubhouse, ranks high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a full count to the leadoff hitter, Guillen, here in the 3rd inning. Against Dan Herron. On deck is Avila. Standing young catcher for the Tigers. Herron's 3-2. Off the fist and handled by Kendrick, and there's out number 1. Dan Herron with a complete game 2-hit shutout on July 5th against the Tigers, striking out 9, didn't walk anyone, and retired the last 15 he faced. Maglio Ordonez flied out to center field, the last out of the game. His 100th career win, 13th complete game as he outdueled Justin Verlander in a pitching masterpiece.
Great acquisition by the Angels just over a year ago. They gave up 4 good players for this young man, and he has been exactly what they expected, giving them a chance to win ball games pretty much every time out.
Here's Avila, and 1-0 to Avila, batting .283. Has hit 10 homers and driven in 43. 5th Tiger catcher to start an All-Star game. This franchise's storied history. 2-0.
And with your dad watching pretty much every single game, not as a fan, not so much as a father, but also as a team executive. There he is. Assistant General Manager, Vice President, Al Avila.
That's how he likes his name pronounced, Al Avila. So we have an Alex Avila and Al Avila. And I wonder how warm he feels about seeing his son here in Detroit, the club he works for, produce like he has. Like, I wonder how Marty Miller, who was the scout who recommended Jacob Turner to the Tigers, must be feeling today.
Exactly.
Handled by Trumbo, makes the play unassisted. And there are 2 down here in the 3rd inning. Well, Chevrolet proudly supports the great game of baseball at all levels. See how they're making kids' baseball dreams come true across the USA at ChevyBaseball.com.
I want to see the first 2 outs here in this inning, as Herron is getting the lefties to do exactly what he is designed to do with those pitches, jamming Guillen and getting Avila to roll over that last pitch.
Don Kelly takes a strike. Kelly, Mr. Utility for the Tigers, has played all but second base and shortstop this year. Those are his numbers this season. And pitch is in for the strike. 0-2. Now has 9 spots on his career resume. Pitched on June 29th. Was behind the plate on July the 2nd. Got to have him on your team.
Keep going. And many think he so far has been their best defensive third baseman.
Well, Wilson Betterment was acquired from Kansas City, and Brandon Inge, very popular player, was released but said he wanted to remain a Tiger, so he went down to their AAA farm club and delivered big time, getting a home run and a multiple hit game. There's Wilson Betterment. Here's the 1-2. And the count even 2-2.
Brandon Inge is a class act. The minute they announced he was going to be part of the ball club, he said, I will accept the demotion, get myself straightened out, and plan on being back here. This is my team.
That's loyalty. Swinging bunt back to Herron. And 9 straight hitters retired by Dan Herron. No score after 3 here in Detroit. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. On a splendid afternoon here in the Motor City, Dick Stockton along with Jose Mota. We have Chris Rose and Ken Rosenthal, cast of thousands. And here to watch Jacob Turner in his major league debut. He's allowed 2 hits, walked 2 and struck out 4. And Dan Herron has had 3 perfect innings, and Howie Kendrick will lead off for the Angels in the 4th inning. But Turner has avoided big time damage as the Angels have left 4 men in scoring position on base, including 3 at third in each of the first 3 innings. Taking bluffing bunt and taking ball 1 is Kendrick, who struck out his first time.
You want to talk about passing early tests in your big league career? How about a man at third base every single inning so far? He's passed it.
1 ball and 1 strike to Kendrick.
See, Howie Kendrick is an excellent hitter. He stays inside the ball. That's a popular ball right there. Pass it on. The family. Right? But, you know, but Turner's getting him to do exactly what he wants from the pitcher's perspective. Just roll over the pitch.
Chop to Guillen. And Kendrick is retired for the 2nd time in the game, 1 out of the 4th.
Which is a sign of somebody that has studied hitters, has done his work with video, has worked with big league pitchers in the past, and is looking at tendencies. So when you get hitters to swing over the top of your sinker, in or out, you're doing something right.
He sure is, and pitching under pressure. And you have to love the poise that Jacob Turner has exhibited thus far. 20-year-old coming up just to pitch 1 game. His team is in a pennant race, facing a team that is also in a division race as well. And with 1 out, Eric Ibar, the batter, and bunts it foul for strike 1. Ibar singled with 1 out in the 2nd inning, stole 2nd and stole 3rd as well. So Jacob Turner into the 4th inning in his debut, and bunting at it and missing. is Ibar, and the count, no balls, 2 strikes.
His intent was not to bunt it to third base, was to get it by the third baseman and push it to the shortstop Peralta, who was staying back. But that was not the best pitch to try to do that on.
Turner is ahead of Ibar, 2 strikes. Pops it up. Second baseman Guillen out, calls for it and makes the catch, and there are 2 down with Mark Trumbo coming up for the Angels. And Jim Leyland was careful to say the reasons why it's going to be only 1 start and back to the minors is not for any other reason than the fact that they're very conscious of the innings pitched this year. And he says we even count spring training innings in how a pitcher has worked, and he has pitched a lot of innings, so they don't want to overdo it. He's pitching in this game and then he's going to go back, but they're very conscious of that with this young hurler. Mark Trumbo, the batter, struck out his first time.
Well, just consider that, you know, pitch counts are huge in the big leagues, but they're bigger in the minor leagues. Saving those young arms. Tyler Chadwell and the Angels going through the same thing right now. How far do you take them?
That's a foul ball. And Mike Scioscia talking about how young pitchers are coming up and showing poise and showing they can do it a lot, so much younger than they did years ago.
They're so much prepared, and there's so much information given to them, and they retain better, and they have to apply faster because they're moving up through the ranks a lot quicker too. It's remarkable how many good young arms there are today in baseball.
0-2 pitch, and Trumbo is fooled, strikes out. That's the 5th strikeout of the game for Jacob Turner. His first 1-2-3 inning. We've completed 3.5. Dan Herron, and the first pitch, fair ball. First base runner and hit of the game, and Dirk's on his way to second, and he'll make it with a stand-up double.
Oh, Andy Dirks does have very good at-bats, 2 at-bats here against Dan Herron. This cutter just didn't do much. Great extension. Watch him start a little early, clear the hits, and drive the ball to that corner.
Well, we've had runners in scoring position for the Angels, and now the Tigers finally get one. And Brennan Bosch, who fly to center his first time up. But you're right about Dirks. Scalded one to center field, and Peter Borges, with a great catch going to his right, saved extra bases in the first inning to start the game. And the first pitch is a ball to Bosch. Shortstop Ibar playing behind Dirks, making sure he doesn't get too big of a lead there. Now moving back, and a shot gloved beautifully by Kendrick. He'll throw out Bosch as Dirks goes to third with one away.
That is an all-star play by Howie Kendrick, the way he saw the ball coming off the bat. And then what you do is you position your feet to allow your hands to be soft. You spin around because that gives you a little leeway, and you have to be flexible. Look at the force with which the ball struck the glove there, and it took it back.
Well, the Angels coming in fourth in the American League in fielding, and we talked about the pitching. Starters have 67 quality starts, tied with Texas for the most in the league. Pitching and defense, here's Maglio Ordonez, and he looks at strike one. Bounced to third his first time up, and the infield playing in for the Angels with a runner at third and one out. And a shot to center field, base hit. Scoring is Dirks, and the Tigers take a 1-0 lead. For Ordonez, his 17th RBI of the year.
I was talking about how the Tigers do a great job adjusting throughout the game. Well, this is the second time around now. You see three batters, three balls hit very hard against Dan Herron. Maglio, a professional hitter who keeps everything as short as possible, and he says he'll aim towards 420 here in this ballpark because it keeps him on the ball longer.
Miguel Cabrera with Victor Martinez on deck. One out, Tigers leading 1-0 here in the fourth, and a shot on the line and a double play to first. So Dan Herron snared that line drive and easily doubled off Ordonez, but the Tigers score and take a 1-0 lead into the fifth. What a play. lead of 1-0, moving to the top of the 5th inning. And Peter Borges, the number 8 hitter who walked and stole second his first time up. Angels have 4 steals already, which is 1 shy of their season's high. Fouls it off. It'll be Borges, Jeff Mathis, and then the top of the order, Myceres Torres for the Angels, who come in 2 games behind the Texas Rangers, who are leading in their game. Breaking ball, and that just misses 1-1.
Defensively, this what Cabrera is doing. He's telling Borges, hey, if he bunt long here, I'm going to go to my right. I want this guy to come here, and that's what we're going to take the bunt away from you. That's why he is not closer to this spot here at first base.
By the way, the Rangers did win that game. And the breaking ball, check swing is in for the strike. So right now the Angels 2.5 behind Texas.
Who says Texas can't pitch? Shutouts are just the name of the game for them right now. Again, from good young pitchers.
And the ball hitting Borges, and he'll trot down to first base. Well, Chris Rose in the stands with some people that are experiencing a once-in-a-lifetime thrill. Chris,
you got it right, Dick. Jacob Turner's father, and Mark, for gold, he is so composed out there. I imagine, however, the butterflies are jumping around in your belly right about now.
Well, nerve-wracking. I mean, the Lord's blessed him with a lot of good things, and he handles it very well.
Are you surprised that a kid at 20 years old is out there making his big league debut?
Oh, it's pretty surreal. I mean, I look at him and I go, a year and a half ago he was pitching at his high school at Westminster in St. Louis. You know, now he's here. But he's really beyond his years in terms of how he handles things like this. I mean, he's been to a lot of pretty good events before, but obviously this is the biggest thing he's ever been in. But he seems to be handling it pretty well.
You found out when? Yesterday that he was getting the call to the big leagues? What was that like?
Yeah, he called us yesterday late afternoon, and we kind of collected everybody up. My son plays University of Missouri, and he came down from Mizzou, and we kind of all got in the car, drove all night, arrived here about 2:30 in the morning, met him for breakfast, and then seeing him here. So it's been a long night, but it's been fun. I'm great. Tigers are giving him the opportunity.
He seems so even keel. Is he always like this, or does he ever get amped up when he's out there on the mound, get excitable?
No, this is about as excitable as you're going to see him. I mean, this is it. I mean, I've seen him. You know, I've seen him pitch, have great night outings, but not great, so great outings. And this is about what you get out of him right now. I mean, he's pretty even keel and can kind of forget the last pitch, so he does pretty well.
How is he in pitching with the lead?
I'm sorry?
How is he pitching with a lead?
Well, so far so good. But he does pretty good. He needs to work a little bit more, keeping those guys a little closer to the bases, but that'll all come in time.
For 20 years old, he's doing just fine.
I think he's doing pretty good.
Dad, congratulations, and enjoy the rest of the game.
Thank you.
Dick, back on upstairs to you.
All right, Chris. Well, we know where he gets his calm demeanor from.
No denying there.
Borges with his second stolen base of the game, so the Angels have a runner at second. 2-0 pitch bunted and fielded in foul territory by Alex Avila. So Mike Scioscia looking to advance the runner to third with less than 2 out, and Mathis bunts out, and Borges remains at second. And we have more reports on the trading market from Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Dick. We talked before about the Texas Rangers and their search for bullpen help. Well, they have a deal. It's not for Heath Bell, but they are on the verge of getting Koji Uehara, a left-hander from the Orioles, in exchange for infielder Chris Davis and right-hander Tommy Hunter. Good deal for both clubs.
All right, so there we go. We've had an earlier trade, and then we come on the air, and Ken Rosenthal reports of 2 others. Here is Myceres Torres.
Koji Uehara, right-hander with an outstanding split changeup. The Angels saw recently in their trip around Baltimore. He throws strikes.
One out. Borges, the runner at second base. Tigers leading 1-0. Pitch taken for a ball, 1-0. So now the Angels have stolen 5 bases today, and we're only in the 5th inning, and that matches the season's high.
Mike Scioscia doesn't get bothered sometimes of results, but effort and things like what just happened with a pop-up and a bunt attempt really get to him.
In the dirt, and a good stop by Avila.
You know, Dick, as you know, this was Mike Scioscia's style of game as a catcher, moving guys around, good hit-and-run guy, and in an area where he's not getting a lot of production from his catchers, getting a bunt down is huge, especially the way this game's progressing.
They play their infield in, so you know that runs he feels will be scarce in this game. There's a strike, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Izturis. 0 for 2, fly to left and bounce to second.
Mike Scioscia, I mean, an example of a guy to put the ball in play. The most he ever struck out in a season, 32 times. In his career, 33 times, the most.
Breaking pitch fouled out of play, and as a receiver, as a catcher, I mean, used to playing full seasons, and he said that he played winter ball and came up through the minor leagues, and that's something that he's hoping Bobby Wilson can get the stamina to be able to be an everyday catcher if it comes to be that.
Best year he ever had with about 296, 2-time All-Star, but he took pride in the way he called the game.
2-2 pitch, strike 3, and Izturis goes down. That is the 6th strikeout for Jacob Turner. And there are 2 down in the 5th inning. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Curtis Granderson and the Yankees head to Boston to take on Adrian Gonzalez and the AL East leading Red Sox in the latest meeting between 2 of sports' most bitter rivals. Or NL East leading Phillies battle the NL West leading Giants in a NLCS rematch and possible playoff preview. Next week's telecast of Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Gillette Fusion Pro Glide, begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. So check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. 2 out to Torrey Hunter, who has bounced out and struck out against Jacob Turner. Turner has struck out 6 and walked 2. Angels with Peter Borges on at second, with 2 down, trailing 1-0. And a line shot base hit to left field. They're going to wave Borges in. And here comes Box's throw, cut off. And the Angels tie it up. And Torrey Hunter with his 51st run batted in of the year with a single, knocking in Borges.
And you'll need this from Torrey Hunter. One of the guys, yes, no secret, Mike Scioscia needs more of him here in the second half of the season. Nice stroke. Shorten up that swing and don't try to muscle up. Those are keys for Torrey Hunter, who came into this game hitting 260 with runners in scoring position. Huge pickup there for Jeff Mathis himself.
No question. And again, when you have to manufacture runs, the stolen base by Borges setting up the base hit, so the Angels tie it up. And here's Bobby Abreu, who's been on base twice, tripled and walked, has a stolen base as well. Time is called.
Here's one thing. Quickly, the big leagues will expose you to a couple of things. And even Jacob Turner's father is aware of holding runners. 5 stolen bases already by the Angels. Guarantee you that's one area they'll be talking to him about more now from here on.
Strike 0-1. And when Mike Scioscia was talking about video and reports, that's one of those things they see.
Yeah, you see time. What is he, a 1-4 or 1-5? You don't run on a guy who's a 1-1, 1-2 or 1-1-5. But if he's being a 1-4, 1-5, you let anybody, and you tell him, you don't have to have your best jump. He's not that fast.
Getting back is Hunter.
Well, sometimes when you're dominating through the minor leagues, it's not that very many times guys are running against him.
Well, it's a different game up here, and Jacob Turner, I think, has shown enough no matter what happens that you can see why he has been regarded as one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball.
We see the reasons. I mean, he has earned calls here from Bob Davidson, who's been around a long time, because he's been around the zone so much. And, you know, the first 40 pitches we saw from Turner, we saw everything, not holding back at all.
2 down, runner at first. The Angels have tied it up, and a fly ball hits a left center field. Dirks coming on over and makes the catch. Long run by Dirks to his right. Abreu is retired, but Hunter's RBI single ties the game after 4.5. Sponsored by AT&T. Rethink possible. That is Ty Cobb, who was the first great super player in a group of great players who have worn the Detroit Tigers uniform, who are honored with statues around this ballpark, one of the great baseball towns in America. Victor Martinez leading off against Dan Herron takes strike one. Martinez bounced out Trumbo to Herron his first time up. Saw Al Kaline, the great right fielder, in the dugout for the Tigers before the game. Lifted high in the air to right field. Torrey Hunter coming over toward the line. And Martinez is retired for the first out. Johnny Peralta not only been hot the last week, how about his ranks among shortstops in the league in the last year?
Dick, this was when so many people in Cleveland gave up on this guy. Dave Dombrowski said, no, I'm going to bring you over not to be my third baseman, but to be shortstop. He is a reborn Johnny Peralta, became an all-star, and he is making everybody know he's still one of the best mistake hitters in baseball.
And made the all-star team for the first time in his 9-year career. Looks at ball one from Dan Herron. In the 13 games since the all-star game, Peralta hitting .383, 3 doubles, 2 homers, and 12 runs batted in. Dominated Twins pitching last weekend. Hits a shot to center field. Borges is back, has room, and makes the catch. 2 fly balls, 2 outs here in the 5th inning, and Chris Rose now with a direct TV game break.
Yeah, down to St. Louis, Dick, where the Cubs jumped on Kyle Loesch and the Cards. Alfonso Soriano, a 3-run crank, part of a 5-run first, his 16th of the year. But who leads the Cardinals' resurgence? Albert Pujols, 24th of the year and 5th of the last 5 games against Chicago. However, they still trail 5-2 in the 5th. Remember to see every baseball game, the most in HD. It's 1-800-DIRECTV. And the Cards, of course, trail the Brewers by a game and a half in the NL Central, guys.
Thank you, Chris. Carlos Guillen with 2 out. Bounced to second his first time up, takes ball 1 outside. And, of course, Edwin Jackson, who the Cardinals just picked up in trade with Colby Rasmus going to Toronto, a multiplayer deal. winning last night for the Cardinals.
It's a great pickup. Another project for Dave Duncan. He's got a great track record with guys like that.
2-0 to Guillen.
Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't matter how the Cubs are playing. This is always a big series. Cubs,
right.
Cardinals. Great rivalry throughout the years.
Three 3-0 now. Dan Herron retired the first 9 batters he faced. And then Andy Dirks with a leadoff double in the 4th inning, driven home by Maglio Ordonez with a base hit to center field. That's how the Tigers got their run. Here's the 3-0. Popped up. Historis makes the catch in fair territory to retire the side. Another 1-2-3 inning. After a blip last inning for Herron. 1-1 the score. Is sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball across the country. And by Burger King and the all-new BK Burger and Chicken Minis. What a beautiful afternoon to get some refreshment. Enjoy the sunshine. And here in this beautiful ballpark, Tigers in the race. And what's better than that?
Well, they're waiting for us over in that food section that you showed. We're making a beeline after the game that way.
Jacob Turner, in his major league debut, has allowed 1 run on 3 hits, and facing Vernon Wells, Howie Kendrick, and Eric Ibar here in the 6th inning. Wells 0 for 2. First pitch is ball 1. The Angels with 1 run, 3 hits, and the Tigers with a run, 2 hits, and 1 error. The rope skipping. 2-0 now to Wells.
It was interesting, the last sequence of signs by Alex Avila behind the plate 3 times. Jacob Turner said, nope, it's not the pitch I want. Major league debut. You don't see that very often.
No, you don't. That was Phil Koch, by the way, in the Tiger bullpen. Shot to center field. Dirks. Wells is retired. 1 away. What's going on, Ken Rosenthal?
Well, Dick, White Sox general manager Ken Williams told reporters today that he does not expect to make any more deals, even though there's been quite a bit of action on Matt Thornton and Carlos Quentin. Well, let me go back a few years. Winter meetings, Swan and Dolphin Hotel in Orlando. I'm sitting on the couch with Ken Williams in the middle of the day, and he says he's not making any trades in the winter meetings. Freddie Garcia was gone by 8 p.m. that night.
Are you saying that you can't believe everything they tell you?
Yes, I am saying that.
But who wouldn't want to have Ken Rosenthal's job in the winter meetings when it's cold, going down to someplace warm and sitting on a sofa in the lobby talking with general managers around baseball, the sport you love so much?
See, Ken Rosenthal has it down to codes now. He knows, oh, I know what that means. Okay, I'm going to stay right on you. Something's happening.
Howie Kendrick has struck out and grounded to second. 2 balls and no strikes with 1 out in the 6th inning. And now it's 3-0 to Kendrick.
Oh, Dick, for Jacob Turner, this is nothing new. Going deep into a game. In every single start in the minors this season, 17 of them, he went 5 innings at least. And 15 times he went 6+ innings. Just carried it on to the big leagues. It's not that easy.
Come up to the big league and you look like you've been pitching all year long in the major leagues. Count now is full to Kendrick.
Watch his delivery. There's not a lot in terms of when it comes down to high maintenance in terms of a guy that's going to require a lot of maintenance between starts. And all those things come from his basic. We talked about Andy Bennis and the influence he had on him as a youngster over in St. Louis area. We talked about Tom Worrell. Even former catcher Mike Matheny was huge in influencing and affecting the way he goes about his business.
Game is held up because some fan who thought it was very important for him to be a presence came onto the field, and the authorities are taking him off. 1-1 the score. Dan Herron has allowed just 2 hits and 1 run in 5 innings, and Jacob Turner with 6 strikeouts in his major league debut has had a pitch out of jams, as there have been 3 runners stranded at third for the Angels and 4 in scoring positions, giving up just 1 run. And Torrey Hunter driving in the run for the Angels to tie it up after Ordonez RBI single gave the Tigers the lead.
That's the main thing. These 2 names right here. Veteran guys coming through for their ball club.
Now ready to work. 3-2 to Howie Kendrick. And he's on with a walk. That is the 3rd base on balls issued by Turner. Remember, Phil Cope, the left-hander, warming up in the bullpen. Eric Ibar coming up to the plate, and Jim Leyland. I want to see Jim Leyland coming to the mound, and hopefully we can see Leyland giving Jacob Turner a send-off. Good job, Jacob Turner, to a standing ovation here in Detroit. A tremendous ovation as he left the field, working 5 1/3 innings, allowing 3 hits, striking out 6, and responsible for Kendrick on at first and Phil Koch, the 29-year-old left-hander from Sonora, California, in to face Eric Ibar. Switch hitter turned around, now batting right-handed, and a base hit down the left field line. Going to third base is Kendrick, and the throw will come in, and on at second with a double is Ibar. So on the first pitch from Phil Koch, Ibar with a second hit and double, and the Angels have runners at second and third.
Ibar came into this at bat hitting only .212 from the right side. That's why Jim Leland went to the lefty Phil Koch, but he turned around quickly and he cut fastball. As a third baseman, Kelly's looking for the bunt. He got it right by him at a right time. Ibar comes through for the Angels.
So in the 1-1 game, and Kendrick at third and Ibar at second, Mark Trumbo struck out twice against Jacob Turner. Now facing Phil Koch, and they're going to walk him intentionally, load the bases, and pitch to Peter Borges. So Phil Koch, who was tagged for 2 runs and 4 hits Thursday in the series opener in the 12-7 loss to the Angels, had allowed only 1 earned run in his first 7 relief outings since being pulled from the rotation as a starter at the beginning of the month. And now we'll face Borges with the bases loaded and 1 out. Jacob Turner. Big plus day for him, Jose.
Oh, outstanding job. I mean, he showed the composure of a 10-year veteran. Showed every single pitch in different spots. He was able to bounce the ball, trusting his catcher, cutting the fastball in, and why not lead to this great ovation in a great baseball town?
So now with the bases loaded and 1 out in a 1-1 game here in the 6th inning, Peter Borges, who has walked, was hit by a pitch, has stolen 2 bases and scored the lone Angels run.
This could be very beneficial for Peter Borges. 306 against lefties.
And it hits him, and a run's going to come in. Second time that Borges has been hit today. Last inning was hit and came around and scored. And coming around is Kendrick. Ibar going to third, and Trumbo to second, and the Angels move in front 2-1.
Wrecking ball coming in. In that case, Borges stays right in there, and why not take that one? So Phil Koch, who struggled as a starter, he went 1-7, comes in here and struggles immediately against 2 batters.
Bases remain loaded to Jeff Mathis, who was struck out and tried to sacrifice and popped up. Gets the fastball. 0-1 the count to Mathis. Tigers, who have been a dominant team at home last year and have had more of their problems this season. They've lost 8 of their last 13, where they have dominated teams, won 52 games at home a year ago. Bluff to second, no one covering as Trumbo gets back. Runner at third is Ibar. Trumbo at second and Borges at first. Borges walked and twice has been hit by pitches. Angels with 4 hits, looking to add for more. 2-1 is the score, and a fly ball to right field. Ordonez coming over and making the catch. Scoring easily will be Ibar. Trumbo will go to third, and Borges advances to second. As Mathis does his job, flying out to the deep right corner here at the ballpark, and the Angels now lead it 3-1.
Well, the way you make up for a failed bunt attempt in the 5th inning is to stay back, drive the ball the other way. That is a good job of situational hitting. Mike Scioscia, Mickey Hatcher, stressing to this ball club, is not about the collective batting average so much. It's all about how much you do with those outs.
So there are 2 out, but the Angels with runners at second and third. Mathis with his 14th RBI of the year. And here is Maicer Astúriz 0 for 3, facing Coke for the first time. And he gets hit by the pitch, and shaken up is Avila behind the plate.
Boy, double.
And the Tigers want to tend to Avila, and Jim Leland coming to the mound to make sure that his outstanding young catcher's all right. Bases are loaded once again.
Oh, Phil Coke just cannot find the grip to throw that breaking ball. A.T. Smith's now twice hitting batter. And fortunately, Avila was not hurt more than that.
That's the 4th time an Angel hitter has been hit by a pinch in this game. Bases are loaded once again with 2 outs to Torrey Hunter. So a shaky inning for the Tigers. Jacob Turner getting the first out, walking Kendrick, and out he came. So Trumbo is at third. Borges on base along with Isturiz. With 2 out, Hunter singling a run his last time up to tie the game at 1-1. Now the Angels lead 3-1, and ball 1 to Hunter. Torrey Hunter is the 8th batter to come up against the Tigers here in the 6th. Twice they've had the bases loaded. And it's 2-0 to Hunter with Bobby Abreu on deck and no place to put him.
And for Torrey, the simpler the better. Keep the zone small.
There's a strike, 2-1. Dwayne Belo, who was scheduled to start today's game, now warming up in the bullpen for the Tigers. Here's the 2-1, and it's outside, and the count goes to 3-1.
I said the zone needed to be smaller. Takes more inches off of it right now.
Phil Coke having his problems, and he had his problems as soon as he came into the game in relief of Jacob Turner. Here's the 3-1 pitch, line to right field, and making the play is Ordonez to retire the side. 8 men come up, but 2 runs come across for the Angels, who lead at 3-1 after 5.5. Angels were trailing 1-0, tied it in the 5th, and now leading 3-1 with 2 in the top of this 6th inning. And Alex Avila facing Dan Herron on the first pitch. Line drive right to Torrey Hunter for out number 1. Well, baseball greats are coming together for the Pepsi Max Field of Dreams promotion, where you and your friends could win a chance to play ball with the MLB legends. Visit Pepsi Max Field of Dreams online to enter today. Remember, if you build it, they will come. Don Kelly, second at bat, bounced out his first time up. Takes strike 1. Dan Herron with an economy of pitches in the 4th and 5th innings. Retired the Tigers on 6 pitches, even though he gave up a run. 4 were hard hit, but 8 pitches got him out of the 5th inning when he retired the Tigers in order.
Let me bring that up because Dan Herron adjusts as guys adjust to him. You saw what happened in the 4th inning, the hard contact you're talking about. From there on, he is using less of the plate.
Trip foul.
He used left of the plate because he had movement. You see more foul balls on pitches and usually hitters sink there right on. That is the beauty of a Dan Herron and how much you can use both sides of the plate.
Well, the cutter and the splitter. That was magnificent in his last out. Full count now to Don Kelly. With the top of the order, Andy Dirks waiting to hit. There's Dirks. Doubled his last time up and has hit the ball hard. Twice against Herron today.
Those are always good signs. This happened a lot in Cleveland in his last start. A lot of left-handed hitters hitting foul balls, holding. That just makes home plate much bigger from the middle out and down for Dan Herron.
Target is set up on the outside of the plate and again fouls it off, pulling that pitch.
I think Don Kelly wants that right field line moved a little bit more by now.
Don Kelly from Point Park College in Pittsburgh. Ball 4 and Kelly is on. And that is the first walk of the game issued by Dan Herron. And the NFL is back, and Fox's coverage begins with a preseason special as the Buccaneers head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Coverage begins on Friday, August 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, in high definition, only on Fox.
Now with some of the best news delivered to big league clubhouses this past week.
I'm sure.
The NFL is back.
And really none of the preseason games missed except for the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. Here is Dirks. And the throw to first. Getting back on the snap throw from Mathis.
Hey, so how soon before we hear the words quarterback controversy anywhere? Yet?
How about probably before the season starts, Jose? You'll know it in preseason. Quarterback. Very good.
How about competition?
1-0. And it's fouled off. You know, you're so right, because anytime a quarterback has a problem and another quarterback comes in, it's already a quarterback controversy.
Can you imagine how many starting pitchers you'd have to go through in baseball if you had one bad outing and somebody came and did well? Open up that roster to 50 people.
Dirks, the tying run at the plate. Swings and misses, and the count 1-2. Don Kelly, who walked with 1 out, the runner, against Dan Herron, looking for his 11th win of the year. As the Angels coming in with the lowest team ERA in the American League at 3.38. And Jared Weaver leading the parade. And there's a ground ball. And Kendrick to Ibar for the force. And interesting how Herron was alert enough to try to deflect that ball.
And that ball was really slowed down by the grass in the infield by Howie Kendrick. Had a little trouble getting rid of that ball. It looked like a double play right off the bat. If you watch Herron, smartly as he mentioned, but Howie did not come in enough as he got momentum going to his right.
So there are 2 down to Brennan Bosch, who is hitless today. There is Harron, seeing that Kendrick could handle the ball. What happened after that was something he couldn't control. So here's Bosch. Base runner is Dirks with 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Angels leading 3-1. Jared Weaver, by the way, matched up with Justin Verlander in the series finale tomorrow, which is indeed a classic matchup with arguably the top 2 pitchers in the league.
And both of them are looking forward to it. And Weaver just tongue-in-cheek kind of say, you know what, the good thing is I'm not hitting against them. That's the best part.
So it's Weaver 14-4 against Verlander, 14-5. Only one other time since 1920 have 2 pitchers gone up against each other before the last 2 months with 14 wins and an ERA under 250. Sandy Koufax and Bob Herky. And a great job done by Tom Brookins, the first base coach, back in July of '62. That was the last time you had pitchers with those kinds of credentials facing each other before the last 2 months.
Remarkable numbers. Young veterans.
Well, Tom Brookins obviously still agile.
Former infielder. What do you expect? Plus, remember, he's reading swings, too. He's doing his scouting on all the foul balls he saw from Don Kelly. Says, I need to be a little more aware here.
Count to Bosch is 1-2 with 2 down. Dan Harron now with a 2-run lead in the bottom of the 6th. And a good play made by Jeff Mathis on a tough pitch into the dirt.
Well, the Angels staff, you got to have this. Nice blocking. Fundamentally sound. Because if they're not, you know who's got their attention, right?
Another catcher. Here's the crowd looking for the strikeout to win the inning.
Hoping to see Bosch run into something.
Foul ball, looking for Bosch to get something going here, and a home run would tie the game. So they're cheering rhythmically for Brennan Bosch here and hoping he could do some damage against Dan Harron. Line drive from the first base in time. No out call was given by Jerry Lane, the third base umpire. You saw the white on the glove, and he trapped it, but makes the play, and the side is retired. AT Rethink Possible. Angels batting in the 7th, leading the Tigers 3-1. And Bobby Abreu against Phil Koch, who had his problems in relief of 20-year-old Jacob Turner making his major league debut. First pitch to Abreu is a strike. He has tripled, walked, stolen a base. And 1 for 2 officially on the day. Abreu will be followed by Vernon Wells and Howie Kendrick. Jacob Turner worked 5 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs. That first run last inning was charged to Turner. Koch charged with the other.
You sit in that bench and you're still learning. So accumulation right now. All the experience and knowledge you can watch in a big baseball field.
2-1. Angels looking to keep pace with the Rangers, who won today and stay 2 games behind Texas in the AL West as Koch battles Abreu, the DH. Two and two.
That was a kind of swing the Angels would like to see more of from Bobby Abreu, like that triple in that first inning. He's always had the great eye, but at times maybe a little too careful in trying to guide the ball the other way.
Base hit to left field. And going to second is Abreu. Here's Bosch's throw in time. Bobby Abreu was hustling in a great throw by Brennan Bosch to Carlos Guillen to get Abreu.
And the reason Abreu goes, he's hit it off the end of the bat. He knows that ball's going to be dying in that grass, but a great play by Bosch, turning around, spinning, and then a one-hopper right to his second baseman. Outstanding defensive play. You have to go very far, spin around, and get his body right for that tag to be applied.
So 1 away to Vernon Wells. Strike 1 to Wells, who is 0 for 3, has hit the ball in the air all 3 times today. Brennan Bosch showing the dirt on his uniform from his hustle in left field. And I could see why Abreu thought he could make it in there.
Just got him, I thought. See, Bobby has a tendency to slide a little too early sometimes. It's a bit of a pop-up slide, but you have to slide a little more through the bag. I think he would have made it if he had done that.
Fly ball. Wells hitting to Andy Dirks in center field, and there are 2 gone. What's the latest on Givaldo Jimenez? Here's Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Dick, if there's a deal to be had between the Yankees and Rockies for Ubaldo, it sure doesn't seem very likely right now with less than 24 hours until the deadline. I'm told that the Yankees have informed the Rockies that they cannot have any of the top 4 players that the 2 teams have been talking about. The pitchers Nova, Banuelos, Betances, and the catcher Jesus Montero. I've also told that the Yankees informed the Rockies earlier in the week that they were out. So really right now it seems like there's very little constructive dialogue. The Yankees appear to be on to other things.
Howie Kendrick grounds out to Peralta, and that'll do it. There was a hit, and the Angels retired in the 7th, leading Detroit 3-1. by AT is sponsored by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, and by MasterCard. Eat, drink, and be generous this summer. Tigers trailing by 2 runs coming up in the 7th against Dan Herron, and Maglio Ordonez taking a strike. Ordonez knocking in the only Tiger run with a single in the 4th inning. He'll be followed by Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez. So the heart of the Tiger order here in the 7th. Slap to the right side, and it gets past Trumbo into right field. Try to backhand it, and Ordonez is aboard here in the 7th.
And that's the ball that should have been caught. Trumbo just did not position his body well enough to get the hop either early or set his feet to get it a little bit later. He got caught in between there.
So Ordonez, the tying run at first, or the tying run at the plate now, and Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera 0 for 2 last time up, hit a line drive that wound up in Dan Herron's glove, and he doubled up Ordonez to end the 4th inning after the Tigers had taken the 1-0 lead. Foul at the plate, and they're going to rule it a base hit for Ordonez, his 2nd hit of the game.
And that's being generous because you're at home. No, Miguel Cabrera was telling me yesterday, he goes, this year he's felt okay. He goes, too many peaks and valleys with my swing, my approach, but he has the most basic and simple approach for a big man. David Ortiz of the Red Sox says, I hadn't seen a big guy have a short mechanism to get to the ball, inside out the ball with power, as Miguel Cabrera has. And he said his best instructor, Pudge Rodriguez, when he was a youngster with the Marlins. He goes, he taught me to cut my swing down at an early age so I don't have to make that many adjustments later on in my career.
Doesn't that work wonders with so many hitters? Ball getting away, no advance by Ordonez. Cabrera, who hit his 22nd home run on Thursday off of Joel Pinheiro, is now 1 for 11 lifetime against Dan Herron.
And it's all about what the knob does as he's loading up to get his hands close to his body.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Miguel Cabrera. Angels leading 3-1. Ordonez at first base, and the ball in the dirt. 2-2 now to Cabrera.
This is a big point of the game here for Dan Herron. His stuff is crisp. He's got a great tempo on the mound. He is missing low in the zone and looking for that ground ball. Very economical, Dan Herron, only 78 pitches.
3 in the last 4 innings. Of course, we're into the 7th and nobody out. Joaquin Benoit has begun to throw in the Tiger bullpen. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cabrera, who has 22 home runs. Tying run at the plate for the Tigers here in the 7th. Just got a piece of that to stay alive.
And Herron is a prime example of knowing how to pitch, being able to adjust, keeping your balance on the mound. And one thing you cannot teach: compete. There's that load up I'm talking about. See the front stride? It's barely a stride.
He's been good for a long time. 95 wins since the start of 2005. And there's a shot hit out to right center field, and it's going to be a base hit. Borges cuts it off. Ordonez will go to third. Holding it first with a single is Cabrera. So back-to-back hits starting the 7th inning for the Tigers against Dan Herron. And the tying runs are on base with nobody out.
There it is. Just turn that front ankle and go with a pitch. That's just a small zone that you can miss on. You can call it whatever you want. But this man right here is one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball, who can adjust on the fly.
Top 10 in the league in so many of the big categories offensively. In fact, last night the Tigers had 15 hits in their victory, but Cabrera went 0 for 4. But not the case today. So here's Victor Martinez, who was 0 for 2 in the game. Runners at first and third, nobody out. Martinez now 9 for 23 against Herrin. Tigers now with 4 hits in the game. Big swing and a foul over toward the Angel dugout. On deck for Detroit is Johnny Peralta.
If you watch a lot of these Tigers hitters, yes, Peralta waits on deck. And Lloyd McClendon does a great job with the hitters. He's a hitting instructor. And projecting the stiff front leg, so there's not a lot going this way. But just a quick pickup of this leg and putting it down.
The 0-1. And another foul ball, and there's another one of those pitches pulled into foul territory by those left-handed hitters. Well, Victor Martinez with runners in scoring position hitting .402. And he seems to thrive when there are men on base. That's another mark of how valuable he is.
Dangerous 2-strike hitter coming into today. 317 with 2 strikes.
Ordonez, who led off with a single, is at third. Cabrera, who got a base hit to right center field, is at first. Nobody out. And another foul ball. And Peter Borges, you talk about what goes between the lines here, not only making the play on Dirks to start the game that would have saved extra bases, but getting over in a hurry to prevent Cabrera from getting the second and keeping the double play in order here.
It doesn't show up anywhere else, but that's good defense.
Meanwhile, Herrin is ahead of Victor Martinez, 2 strikes. One and 2 now to the Tigers' designated hitter. Switch hitter. Last night, the Tigers had 4 switch hitters in their lineup.
And they all produced 12 runs.
15 hits. Tigers have 4 hits. Angels 5. Off the screen and glances off of the front of the Angels dugout.
Well, the question comes up saying how many foul balls are guys going to hit that way before they lay off those pitches. But those pitches look good all the way in. It's just a veteran, Dan Herrin, cutting it at the very end and sometimes even just taking a little bit off his fastball.
And it's interesting how he misses inside almost every time.
On purpose. Just off the plate.
Again, the 1-2. And grounded to Trumbo. He'll go over to second. The throw home. And out at home. Out at home is Ordonez. Bob Davidson made sure until he saw that Ordonez had not touched home plate, and the tag was put on by Jeff Mathis.
Well, that's your usual 3-6-2 double play. You don't see that very often, but this is what Mike Scioscia's talking about, being fundamentally sound with catching the ball, starting with the ball, getting the outs, and for his catchers, start with the ball and block home plate appropriately. Great job by everybody who had a chance to catch that ball or throw that ball. Staying right with the play is Jeff Mathis.
And right with the play with Bob Davidson, as we know, after a tough call at the plate earlier in the week with the Pirates and the Braves. Here's Johnny Peralta. 1-0 to Peralta.
Just the play of awareness from Eric Ibar and from Trumbo, who first looked at the runner first, runner at third, fired to Ibar, who has an open lane to watch that play developing at home plate.
So Victor Martinez now the base runner, and a strike to Peralta. 1 ball and 1 strike. Peralta 0 for 2, fly to left and center field. In a hot hitter, 320 on the season, but almost a one-man gang against the Twins last weekend, and has not really let up. 2-1 now.
Keep in mind, Miguel Ordonez might be a little shy on contact at home plate after suffering that broken ankle last season. So you see why he wanted no part of a crash over there at home plate with Jeff Mathis trying to go around him.
It's the old days of the hook slide at home plate, so you can avoid that tag when the plate of the plate is in front of home.
So he's watching the play develop. Once he sees a throw go to second, he's going, I'm going. You know, and when they lost the last year, it was huge.
So Dan Herron trying to pitch out of big-time danger. Gave up singles to Ordonez and Cabrera. And then the 3-6-2 double play. Martinez the base runner, and the pitch down low in the dirt. 3-1 with Carlos Guillen waiting on deck.
You got a very good point in this. This whole inning, the way it's going, was changed by one guy, Peter Borges.
Because they were able to convert the double play, as awkward as it was. There's a call, strike 3 and 2. It wasn't your conventional double play.
It's not so much about what you can do and show in a box score, but all the little things that show up when you play the game right. As Scott Downs gets ready for the Angels in the bullpen.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Peralta. Fly ball hit deep to left field. On the warning track now, coming in to make the catch is Vernon Wells. He went back to the track and then came in to make the catch. And Dan Herron pitches out of danger. The Angels lead it 3-1 after 7. Tigers had a big opportunity in the bottom of the 7th inning with 2 runners on and nobody out, and Dan Herron pitched out of it and got defensive help as well. So Phil Koch, who came in relief of Jacob Turner in the 6th inning and had some problems, got out of the 7th inning, giving up a single. Abreu, out trying to stretch it to a double, will face Eric Ibar, who's been dangerous today with a single, a double, a run scored, and 2 stolen bases. Ibar, followed by Trumbo and Borges, punts it in the air, and unable to make the play is Don Kelly in foul territory. Good effort, though, by Kelly.
Got to applaud that. They're calling him the best defensive third baseman they've had here throughout the whole season. He's coming in looking for the bunt, and then coming in and changing directions. This is what threw him off there.
You know, you talked about here's the close call, the 3-6-2 double play, and only the second of that kind in the majors this season, and both times Tiger runners were involved. After Colorado back on June the 18th. And a base hit for Ibar. And Eric Ibar with 3 hits, 3 for 4 today. He had 3 hits in the series opener on Thursday, so the Angels with a 3-1 lead have the leadoff man on in the 8th.
Ibar saying leave Phil Koch in there. 2 for 2 so far against him. Hits the ball hard again as he pulls it with a great top hand action.
So bullpen activity for the Tigers.
And Daniel Schlereth gets ready out there.
Just called up from AAA. Here is Mark Trumbo. 0 for 2, struck out twice and was walked intentionally his last time up. And strike 1 to Trumbo. Trumbo with a big week. Had an RBI last night. 5 runs batted in. Career high for him on Thursday. Drive hit to right center field. Could be trouble, and it is. And they're going to wave in Ibar. Throw coming in and stopping at second with a double is Trumbo. Ibar scores, and the Angels now lead it 4-1.
Well, that's the 7th RBI in this series already for Mark Trumbo, and this is where he starts looking more middle out against lefties. He keeps it front shoulder in, and they're strike with power, with his hands, and with a great follow through. Leading candidate to be the Rookie of the Year, and he continues to show why. Now he's becoming a clutch hitter.
And leading all rookies in so many offensive departments, Peter Borges has been on base 3 times today by virtue of a walk and twice hit by pitches. Looking to bunt. Good sacrifice. And Avila making the play over to first base to Cabrera. And Ibar moving to third base with 1 out.
That's more like what Mike Scioscia would like to see. Guys going up there covering the plate. Now watch how much room Borges gives himself to bunt. Okay, it's not a lot. We consider you want to have a little bit more of that barrel, but early in the season he was holding the bat even higher than that.
Here's Jeff Mathis. Sacrifice fly and an RBI in the 6th inning. Infield in for the Tigers. Angels now lead it 4-1. They were trailing 1-0. Got a run in the 5th to tie it up, 2 in the 6th. And have added 1 here in the 8th inning. And taking advantage of Phil Koch's problems on a day in which 20-year-old Jacob Turner came up and made his major league debut and gave a good account of themselves to say the least. And time now for today's Burger King mini moment. And it was the defensive play in the 7th inning. Watch Peter Borges cut this ball off. And Ordonez went to third, and Miguel Cabrera held it first. And then Victor Martinez hit into an unorthodox double play. But what happens if he doesn't cut that ball off?
Then you have second and third. The double play is out of order, and the whole complexion of the inning changes immediately.
0-1 to Mathis, just looking to make contact. Pitch out. And the count 1-1.
You see that last visit to the mound by Alex Avila. It's all about one thing. Be aware. Okay? They will continue to put pressure on us with small ball.
Angels have out hit the Tigers 7-4. And another opportunity here. 1 out. Runner at third. Popped up behind the plate and out of play. Daniel Schlereth throwing in the Detroit bullpen. Another left-hander. I don't know of a team that has any more southpaws on their pitching staff than the Tigers.
And good young arms too out there. even though their bullpen has really struggled this season. It's one of the worst in baseball. It's gotten a little bit better the last couple of weeks.
Ken Rosenthal reported the Tigers, who acquired 2 pitchers from the Mariners, still looking for another hurler. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. And strike 3, 2 down as Mathis is retired, and the infield will move back. Mathis with a few words for Bob Davidson, who gave a few words back there.
What we call a wrap-around breaking ball here. That's what Bob Davidson's looking at. And so we're across, maybe not just exactly where it was caught, but it's hittable.
Here is Mycer Asturias, infield back with 2 out. And the runner at third.
Now Mathis makes his point, and he's going to get out of there because remember, he still has to catch Dan Herring back there too.
Going back is Bosch, over his head, and a run will score. And into second goes Asturias, and the Angels now lead it 5-1.
Asturias great approach, same pitch, little wraparound breaking ball, trying to get it in on him, but he got extended. Much different.
And Jim Leyland is out to the mound. We'll have a new pitcher. We'll be back. A better way forward. And by State Farm, for auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. "25-year-old Daniel Schlereth recalled from Toledo before last night's game, pitched a scoreless ninth. He had been up until the end of June. Native of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, facing Torrey Hunter, who was 1 for 4 with an RBI single. Strike 1. Two runs in for the Angels here in the 8th inning. One point they were trailing the Tigers 1-0. They lead 5-1. And the Angels, when they have scored 4 or more, have won 27 of their last 28. Shows you the ball getting away. And going to third will be Asturias. Shows they don't need many runs to win. And we want to welcome the viewers who saw the Mariners beat the Rays 3-2. We're here in Detroit, where the Angels, who are looking to win and keep pace with the Rangers, who won earlier today, lead 5-1 over the Detroit Tigers. Tigers coming in first place, 2.5 games ahead of the Indians, and the Angels have scored 2 runs here in the 8th inning. 1 ball and 1 strike and 2 out. And a runner at third base. Line drive center field and handled by Andy Dirks to end the inning. But the Angels get 2 more runs to add to their lead. It's 5-1 as the Tigers bat in the 8th. And by MasterCard, eat, drink, and be generous this summer. Dan Herron all the way for the Angels, looking for his 11th win of the season. Carlos Guillen, the Tigers' second baseman, takes ball 1. Guillen is 0 for 2 in the game. Popped up to the right side of the infield. Howie Kendrick. And there's 1 out. Fox Sports is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer in their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. Stand up for someone you love. So visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports to learn more. Pleased to be with Jose Mota this afternoon, and Ken Rosenthal and Chris Rose in the park as well, as the Angels looking to take a 2-1 lead in the series.
And right now, one thing you're seeing is a typical Dan Herron outing, but the difference is there's a 5 up on the board for the Angels.
First pitch is a strike to Alex Avila, who's been retired twice. Tigers scored first in this game on an RBI single by Ordonez in the 4th inning, but the Angels came back with 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and added 2 in the 8th. In the air, down the left field line. And out of play. 2 strikes. The count to Avila.
If you want to see how well Dan Herron has been using the inner half of the plate, just off the plate in and just the inner third, all you have to see is how many balls have been squared by left-handed hitters in fair territory. cut fastball, the two-seam fastball, the four-seamer, and of course a splitter, all taking effect.
That's low. Second straight outstanding performance for Dan Herron to this point. Last outing Monday against the Indians, left in the 8th inning with a 2-1 lead, had 10 strikeouts to tie a season high, but the Indians rallied for the win. Hasn't had the strikeouts today, but has really found the right spot with his cutter against the left-handed hitters.
And the way some hitters are going back to the dugout after making outs are almost a reflection of a strikeout, saying we can't figure this guy out.
2-2 to Avila, and another foul ball. We've seen that all day. Left-handed hitters fouling off. So Dan Herron in the spotlight. Jacob Turner, though, the story when we started, 20-year-old from St. Louis, called up from Double-A, pitched 5 1/3 innings, gave up 3 hits and 2 earned runs, struck out 6, and showed tremendous poise in his major league debut. And an excitement here with the 40,753 in anticipation, as well as the crusty veteran manager Jim Leyland. Just under a half-century in baseball, excited as well. Full count now to Avila.
Jim Leyland says publicly, I'm excited to watch this debut. It says a lot about not being able to contain himself about the things he saw with the youngster here today.
3-2 to Avila. Kelly on deck with 1 out. And Avila strikes out. And that is the first strikeout of the game for Herron. And right now, for a DirecTV game break, here's Chris Rose.
Guys, how about Seattle's sensational rookie Michael Pineda? 10 Ks, gave up just 1 hit in 6 1/3, picked up his 9th win of the year. Brandon Leak picks up his 24th save. 3-2 your final. It's the Mariners, just their 2nd win in their last 20 games. Jose Mota, with a pitching staff like that, just 2 wins in 20 games.
Base hit for Kelly.
You're absolutely right. Well, got a hit there somewhere. And the hits just have not been coming for the Mariners. I mean, just look at what Ichiro Suzuki is hitting. He's hitting 270 before today. Tells you.
You have to look twice to see that batting average. So that can't be Ichiro. 2-out single by Don Kelly. And it will bring up the top of the order, Andy Dirks. So the Rays, who came into the game 7 games behind the Yankees in their wild card battle, Dirks out of play.
That's called a long strike. Dan Harris says, yep, that's exactly what I want. Keep swinging over it.
Yankees, who beat the Orioles, now 2 games behind the Red Sox, who play the White Sox tonight. The Red Sox beaten by Gavin Floyd and the White Sox last night. And Dirks pops it up. Kendrick. And that'll do it. So Dan Herron gets out of the 8th, giving up a hit and 1 left. Angels coming up in the 9th with a 4-run lead. Detroit, a beautiful afternoon, over 40,000 on hand. And the Angels trying to take a 2-1 lead in this series. Dan Herron, 1 inning away from his 11th win of the year. Bobby Abreu has been on base 3 times with a triple, a walk, and a single. He has stolen a base. And a big cut and a miss, strike 1. The Angel team has really not gotten production the way they expected from Torrey Hunter, Bobby Abreu, or Vernon Wells this year. Wells showing signs of snapping out of it, and the Angels still challenging the Texas Rangers. There's a strike, 0-2.
That 9 sweeping breaking ball by Schlereth. He's always had the stuff. They're just trying to get him more consistent with his release point, solid with his mechanics, to be able to repeat pitches. He's always had the good arm.
Just getting a piece of it.
Because you're talking about Bobby Abreu, he came into this ball game hitting 165 in July. He's been on base 3 times, a couple of hits. Especially the hit against the lefty tells me a lot more about how well he's staying in there. That came against Koch in the 7th inning, going the other way.
Check to swing, and it's 1-2. Jacob Turner, the 20-year-old who is up just for this one assignment, making his major league debut and regarded as one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball, started work 5 2/3 innings. Gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, showed tremendous poise. Phil Koch in relief struggled, however, for Detroit. And now Daniel Schlereth.
Pretty much played out the way Phil Koch's career has been against the Angels. He had an ERA over 8 coming into today.
One and 2 to Bobby Abreu. And that's inside. The Angels have been hit by pitches several times today. 3 occasions.
So the reaction there by Bobby Abreu telling Bob Davison, I didn't see that pitch. As Schlereth is coming out of the sun into that shadow now.
Strong sun in left field right now. And Abreu strikes out for the first out. Well, the trading deadline is approaching. Less than 24 hours. There have been a lot of deals today. Let's check in again with Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Dick, still so much to do for a lot of people in baseball. Let's start right here in this park. The Angels and Tigers still looking for relievers. And then around the game, you have the Braves looking for an outfielder. The Yankees and Red Sox trying to get starting pitching. Ubaldo Jimenez, where's he going? We're here in Cleveland. Cincinnati, both involved still with him, as well as the Red Sox. Also, Heath Bell, still alive with the Rangers, even though the Rangers have acquired Uehara. And then one other guy to watch, Hiroki Kuroda, Yankees, Red Sox, Rangers there. Guys, one more thing before I go. I will guarantee you that tomorrow there will be something that will make your head spin. It happens every year.
Base hit up the middle by Vernon Wells with 1 out. And Ken, so far, though, the Hunter Pence acquisition by the Phillies is the big one.
Yes, it is, Dick. And they were looking for offense. Charlie Emanuel has wanted a guy like Hunter Pence ever since Jason Worth left. Now they've got him. They've got one of the best pitching staffs we know in the game. Boosting that offense is only going to help them as they contend for the National League title.
Hey, Ken, are you glad the Beltran situation is over with?
I'm sorry, Dick?
Beltran situation, are you glad it's over with now?
Jose, I'm never glad or not glad these things get resolved, but that was a great trade for both, in my opinion. Obviously, the Mets wanted a high-end prospect. They got one in Zach Wheeler, and the Giants get $4 million of the $6 million that Beltran is due, and they get the biggest impact hitter in the game right now, the one who is available anyway, for the final 2 months.
All right, Ken, thank you very much for your reports throughout the day, keeping us abreast of the deals that were made and the rumors of deals that could be made.
I do like when general managers did strike early and said, here's what I have, my best package. You want it now? Let's not wait till the deadline. I want exactly what you have, and here's my piece. Take it.
If it's agreeable, do it. There goes the runner, and Vernon Wells is in at second base as the count is now 2-0 to Howie Kendrick with one out. Stolen base for Wells, and that is the 6th of the game for the Angels.
Well, the biggest differences between these two ball clubs, the Angels came in with 90 stolen bases. The Tigers came in with 37 stolen bases.
Sharply hit, gloved beautifully by Cabrera, who races to the bag for the out as Wells goes to third. We've had several sparkling plays today, and Cabrera made one there, so there are 2 down. And now it's time for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge spotlight, and it centers on Eric Ibar.
Well, he's been dynamic for the Angels once again, grounding a ball through the right side against a youngster, then stealing third base, standing up, now turning around from the right side and smoking a ball down the line. And then defensively, awareness. One of the main reasons the Angels are where they're at is the guy up the middle. He is number 2, Eric Ibar, with a bat and with a glove.
And just as Eric Ibar gives the Angels the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. So there are 2 down. And another stoppage of play. You know, it's interesting. I always wondered why fans feel that they can become the star of the show and in the spotlight by holding up 40,000 fans and the players from playing a baseball game when we know what the result is going to be.
And they know what the result's going to be. Here it is. But it takes one guy to do it. And then you see what happens.
Well, we talked about Eric Ibar, Jose, and he had 3 hits on Thursday, 3 hits today with a double, 2 singles, as you pointed out, and he's the batter with Wells at third. Early in the game, the Angels had stranded 4 with runners in scoring position in the first 3 innings, and each of the first 3 with runners at third. And the pitch to Ibar is a strike. Ken Rosenthal, more news.
Well, Dick, Hiroki Kuroda, we just talked about him a moment ago. Forget about it. He's not going anywhere. He has told the Dodgers he will not waive his no-trade clause.
All right, and thank you, Ken. Several clubs were interested in Hiroki Kuroda, including the Rangers, the Red Sox, and the Yankees, among others. And so Kuroda, like perhaps Aramis Ramirez, the Cub third baseman, who the Tigers were interested in, and possibly the Angels, not to give up the good prospects they had. 0-2. Ibar lifts a fly, and Dirks makes the catch. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. 5-1 the score. Last chance for the Tigers. trailing the Angels 5-1. Angels would take a 2-1 series lead, and Dan Herron, 17 innings pitched against the Tigers for Dan Herron, giving up only 1 run. And Brennan Bosch swinging at the first pitch, pop up. Jeff Mathis makes the catch, and there's 1 away. Budweiser is searching for the best crew of friends in America. Find out how to play and register your crew at bandofbuds.com.
That swing by Brennan Bosch. How many times have we seen that here this afternoon? His stuff is maintained from pitch number 1 now through pitch number 105.
Dan Herron came in with a 3.01 earned run average, 10th best in the league, facing Maglio Ordonez. 1-0 to Ordonez, who has singled twice in 3 trips to the plate and knocked in the only Tiger run in the 4th inning. (2-0). Miguel Cabrera on deck for Detroit, as Herron, who came into this inning with 104 pitches thrown, but 4 games this year he has thrown at least 120. There's a strike, and it's 2-1.
You look at his mechanics right now, it's just like the first inning. As quiet, as stable, as consistent.
Now behind 3-1.
Going right to that target, pretty much making it a game of catch with his catcher.
Popped up to the shortstop, Eric Ibar. Not an easy sun right there, makes the catch. And now the Tigers down to their last out with Miguel Cabrera coming to the plate. Dan Herron 1 out away from his 3rd complete game of the year and his 2nd against the Tigers. That's what he's done thus far, and it would be his 14th complete game.
You know, there was a Tigers team that was 7 games out back on May 22nd. And then they were in first place by June 11th. This is a deep lineup, a good ball club.
2 down, and the first pitch is a strike. Cabrera 1 for 3. Singled his last time up. Tigers had an opportunity in the 7th inning, but Borges made a great play cutting off the base hit, and there's a fly ball to center field. Coming on in, making the dive. It's a fair ball, trapped by Borges. It's a base hit, and Cabrera keeps the Tigers' hopes alive with a 2-out single.
The only thing that threw Borges up here was a bigger swing by Cabrera, so his first instinct was not to come in immediately.
And it was trapped to center field, so Cabrera with 2 hits today, as does Ordonez. And here's Victor Martinez with 2 out, runner at first. 40,753 on hand here. Ground ball, and off the glove of Mark Trumbo. The throw to first in time for the out. Dan Herron covering first base on the throw, and that will do it. The Angels have been making plays like this all day.
He used to be a first baseman back in college and a DH. Well, this is your typical 3-4-1 to end the ball game.
And that'll do it, as the Angels now have won 2 out of 3. They have won 11 of their last 12 series and defeat the Tigers 5-1. Dan Herron wins his 11th of the season. And we will wrap things up from Detroit right after these messages from your local Fox station.